Okay, the first question we're going to do is on the other side of the note page. So I want you to create a graph like this number 1 up here. So on your paper, create a graph that has a domain. -3 less than or equal to x less than 5.
Wait. Oh, it's
Wait, does this mean at the point?
On the other side of everything.
So the -3 have to be.
So it's a mean straight straight.
Let me warn you, there will be more than one possible answer.
Oh.
We can do it on the other side.
Wait, no.
How does this make sense? I don't.
It's just across the front and -3 at some point.
How would you know which way it is and why? It says domain.
It says to reverse.
How do you know which way it is? Or you don't?
Yeah. Because it doesn't reverse the quotation.
Because like it can pass through either. I have a question. Does this work? Because it passes through. Oh, wait. So does another word.
It doesn't matter what.
Let me just like. Yeah, I finished with a re-guess because you did that.
The A in the Wait, so
We're gonna do a guess time.
wait. So it's not the A. Not.
That's not fair.
Wait, so the A and the E are not here.
These are the right spots.
So we were
Okay,
right in the.
give us a
We
new
were right
guess.
in the
Give us a
beginning.
new guess. Come on.
Okay. That couldn't help us. We would have guessed something else if you didn't. Okay.
Why are they like three?
I see. Yeah, you're like. E is negative. So this is what it is. Why you have to say that? No. No.
Wait, no.
It's not.
This is not in the right spot.
Yeah.
But there's no. Wait, that's not.
The only right that is.
Afterwards.
No.
Why?
Oh, I mean, if.
Free throw. Wait, I don't know.
Just like the radio. I just kind of forward it over. Wait, what? Oh. Sorry. I
see lots of different answers. One possible answer would be, say, like that. Doesn't matter what the y values are, it has to be closed on the -3 and then open on the 5. Does that make sense? Lots of different possible answers there on that. Okay, so what you're going to do as part of your homework is going to be to finish this side. So now we're going to do the notes for the other side.
Alright, well, that's fine. Wait, is this stuff cold?
Okay, so we're finding domain and range today. More on science. Okay, so we are finding the domain and range now. So we want to do it in inequality notation for this 1 through 3. So I'm going to put D for domain. Domain is which directions? X. X
Left and right.
is left and right. So we're going to go left to right on the graph. And then what is the farthest left? -5, good. And then would it be less than or less than or equal to? Less than and x because it's domain. And then what's my largest x value? 6. Less than or equal to? Less than or equal to because it is closed. Does that make sense? Like it's a little harder when we're doing both the domain and the range. Okay, so now we're going to do the range. Range is which directions? Up and down. So down would be the smaller values. What's the smallest value on the bottom? 1. And it is less than or equal to because it is a closed point. And then what's my highest y value? 6. Less than 6 or less than or equal to? Less than because it is an open circle. Does that make sense? Okay, so now on number 2, D for domain. What's my smallest x value? -7. Less than or equal to? Less than or equal to, and that's an x because it's domain. Then what's my biggest? 7. Yes, this value right here, which is 7, because it is an open circle, it would be less than 7. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then my range is in the y direction, up and down. So we're going to start with down first. What's my lowest y value? -3 right here. Open circle, so it does not include that value. And then what would be my highest y value? Yeah, up to 5. So including 5 or not including 5? Less than 5 or less than or equal to?
Less than. Oh, wait.
That's a closed circle, right? So less than or equal to. Does that make sense? Okay. So number 3. What's my domain on number 3? -infinity. So this arrow is going, it's going down, but it's also going to the left just slowly. So -infinity, less than x. And then this arrow is going also down, but it's also going to the right. So that would be less than infinity. Does that make sense? Okay, so my range is the y values. So we're looking up and down. The down would be our smallest. -infinity is the smallest. And then what is my largest value? 4. Does it include 4, Henry? So is this an open circle here or is it a close? Close, so it's a less than or equal to 4. Does that make sense? Okay, okay, on to number 4.
So because it's open,
Okay, number 4. My domain on number 4. So domain, remember it's your x value, so left and right. My smallest x value on number 4. -4. Less than x because it's an open circle. And then what's happening on the right? There's an arrow, right? So it goes to infinity. Did you have a question, Derek?
No.
Okay.
I thought.
So easy to get the X and Y.
Interval notation.
Oh, thank you, thank you. So -4, comma, infinity, parentheses, and parentheses on both sides. Good job paying attention to those. Interval notation. Correct, yep. So that's the domain. And then what's your range?
Negative infinity.
So this arrow, I know it's hard to get used to that, but that negative infinity comes first. The smaller values are down here. So negative infinity up to what value is the highest? 4. 4, and it includes 4 because this is a point here. So it would be 4 with a bracket. Does that make sense? Okay, so what about for number 5? I'm going to call on a group. So this group back here. Tell me the domain for number 5. Negative infinity to infinity. That's right. And then what on each side of those? Parentheses or brackets? Yes. Always with infinity we put parentheses. And what about range? It's the smallest. You've got an arrow that's coming down, right? That arrow is going down, so that's going to negative infinity. And then we have another arrow pointing up, which is infinity. Okay, number 6 is different though. Let's get this group over here. Tell me the domain for number 6. Yeah, negative infinity, this arrow here, negative infinity. This arrow here goes to infinity. And then what's our range on this one? The lowest value is a -2, say like right here, bracket -2, and then highest value would be 2 and another bracket. Okay? Questions on that?